Good Saturday morning, South Carolina Weather Watchers. I'm your meteorologist, Joseph Peterson, and let's go in and talk about the weather for your Saturday. Starting off, what is going on throughout the entire state of South Carolina? Well, we do see some rainfall activity going on over here towards the coastal areas of the Low Country from Charleston County down all the way to the South Carolina-Georgia state line. And it is moving inland a little bit, like Hardyville, Switzerland, South Carolina, Pritchardville, South Carolina, moving towards Port Royal and Edisto Beach. These areas are all receiving some rainfall, and it will continue to move inland as we move more and more into the next hours. Now, what about rainfall wise for the entire U.S.? We do see some rainfall in Arkansas, some rainfall in West Virginia, Pennsylvania, Maine, New York, and then even in Nebraska, South Dakota, we have a severe thunderstorm warning with 60-mile-per-hour winds and 1.5-inch in diameter hail. So that's a good amount of hail right there. Now, in terms of cloud cover, we're looking actually pretty good. Now, if you're in like the low country areas, like the coastal areas, or maybe the Grand Strand areas, or the far upstate, a little bit of the PD, you may see some cloud cover, but for the most part, you're kind of staying more inside of that clear category. And then for our cloud cover for the future, you're going to push this forward all the way through into this afternoon, pushing it over into the evening, and cloud cover activity grows even more as we move more and more into tonight. And here's 12 o'clock in the morning. Look at how much cloud cover we have here. Now, what about for our current temperatures? We're talking about 80 in Somerville, 81 Charleston, 82 Georgetown, Myrtle Beach, 80 Orangeburg, 80 in Columbia, even 80 in Newberry, 80 Lawrence, and 77 in Greenville, 79 inside of Spartanburg, Gaffney, and York. Now, for our air quality, actually looking all right. I mean, we have a moderate area in the yellow that's from like the Colleton County areas over towards Charleston, North Charleston, up to the Tri-County area, all the way into the PD areas. We have a moderate risk of air quality. And then on the western side, Aiken, Greenwood, moving over down towards Barnwell and Allendale, that is a moderate risk there of air quality. Moderate risk doesn't mean that it's bad, just means that it's not really the best either. And so if you're in the yellow areas, just make sure that you're paying attention for that. High temperatures for today, we're talking about 90 in Greenville, 91, Spartanburg, 93 in Columbia, 91 in Orangeburg, and even 88 in Moncks Corner, 87 Georgetown, Myrtle Beach, Walterboro, and even 85 in Hilton Island. And then for the heat index values for today, overall, we're going to stay mainly around the 100, 102 degree range. Not really too much of anything getting up past that. Now for our wind gust and winds for today. We're going to start off with just regular winds. Winds of up to 5 to 10 miles per hour today is the main kind of zone today for wind. Not bad, actually pretty calm. And then wind gust only getting up to around 15, 16 miles per hour. So not really seeing too much here in terms of major winds kind of moving through. Rainfall wise, we're looking at a good amount of rainfall. 100th of an inch to a 10th of an inch up there inside of the upstate. And then the more down you go towards the low country, the more rainfall you can see. Half an inch to an inch down there near Charleston, Moncks Corner, Walterboro, Hilton Head Island. And then even near like Georgetown, for example, quarter of an inch to a half an inch. Myrtle Beach, same thing. And in other areas like Orangeburg, Sumter, King Street, you may see a 10th of an inch to a quarter of an inch. So low country areas is definitely going to see a good amount of the rainfall for today, and probably the majority of the rainfall for today. And we're going to go look at the models and see what the models have to say. Now, for the SPC outlook, we do in fact have a regular risk of thunderstorm activity for the entire state. Yes, everybody has a risk of thunderstorm activity for today. And then excessive rainfall wise, almost all of us has a risk of flash flooding. Let's start down here in the yellow. This is for North Charleston, Charleston, Somerville, Hollywood, Ridgeland, Beaufort, Bluffton, Hilton Head Island. These areas have a 15% risk of flash flooding for today. 15% risk of flash flooding for today. So if you're in those areas in the yellow, please make sure that you're paying attention. And if you're in the green, that's Myrtle Beach, Georgetown, Moncks Corner, Orangeburg, Sumter, Greenwood, Walhalla. These areas have a 5% risk of flash flooding over today. So again, green, isolated flash flooding, a 5% risk. Yellow, scattered flash flooding, a 15% risk. And this goes from today going into tomorrow morning. Now for the crazy score, currently we're at a 17. 17 right now. Why? Well, rip currents statements is currently going on right now over there for Georgetown counties and Horry County along the border. And then the low country area is getting some rainfall, so that kind of pushes it up as well. So let's go on now and take a look at the models. Time is at the bottom part of your screen. Please make sure that you go and pay attention to that, as that is very, 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 very important to do so. because obviously we don't want anybody to get lost from wherever we are, rather it be with the precipitation or how much rainfall we could potentially see. So here it is right here. We're going to start off here at 9 o'clock in the morning. And just as we push this forward, all that rainfall is going to move into the low country areas, moving through to around 11 a.m. And then here's 12 p.m. right here. Watch how much, look at all this rainfall that's moving in from the coastal areas into like the low country areas. That's a good amount of rainfall right there. And so that's why, a lot of areas near the low country could see, half an inch to an inch, if not even more than that. Now, as we push this forward even more by 2 p.m., again, the low country covered with rainfall. We move over into the afternoon, the evening, even as well, and we start to see some showers and some storm activity start to spread a bit more in like the Midlands, the upstate, maybe a little bit of the more southern upstate, western CSRA area or so. But overall, things are staying mostly just scattered once the low country threat is really done. And, we start to see some more shower activity, more storm activity later on tonight to around 12 o'clock in the morning. Even past 12 o'clock, we may still be seeing some shower activity. So that's what we're looking at right now in terms of the models for what's going on over today or so. Now, how much rainfall could we potentially see? Well, it looks like right now, obviously, you have a lot of spots that may not get rainfall, even in the low country. Keep this in mind. Keep this in mind. There could be a couple of spots, even in the low country, that may not even see any rainfall, according to this model right here. May not see any rainfall. I know, with the amount of rainfall that we just saw, you would think that a lot of areas will get rainfall, but honestly, you take like a closer look at it, and you look at some of the inefficiencies with some spots. Some spots just get some light rain, and that's it. So, is that a possibility? Yes, it is a possibility that somebody in the low country, somebody inside of that risk of flash flooding, may not see a single drop. Now, some people may see up to 2 inches of rainfall. I see some areas down there near Hilton Head Island up to 4 to 5 inches of rainfall, maybe even 6 inches. And then look up in the upstate, up to an inch of rainfall or so. Now, one thing you also want to look at when it comes to flash flooding is what's the rainfall rates looking like. And the rainfall rates, for the most part, I see a lot around an inch or so in an hour or so. I look down there towards Hilton Head Island near Beaufort, and I see some areas where it's close to almost 3 inches of rainfall per hour. So we're looking at a good amount of rainfall that's falling in an hour. And one more thing, the precipitable water values. Watch these precipitable water values this morning. Look in the low country areas, really getting high, up to 2 inches of rainfall, potentially, with some storms that may try to form, that may try to fall. Look up in like the upstate, the Midlands, maybe looking around an inch and a half, maybe 2 inches or so. And then as you move forward into the day, this is around 9 p.m., and things calm down, but now the upstate starts to get in a little bit on some of those higher 2 inch totals. And that's pretty much all I have to say there. So now it's time, because we've been talking about the tropics for a minute now. And look at this. An area of interest. I kind of saw this happening, with all of the model guidance that we've seen, and it's finally here. So for the people who have been here for the past couple of nights, this should be no shock to you. This is in the eastern and the central tropical Atlantic. A tropical wave is expected to move off the west coast of Africa on Tuesday. Some development of the system will be possible during the middle to the latter portion of next week, while it moves west across the eastern and the central tropical Atlantic. So this has a 0% chance of forming over the next 48 hours and a 20% chance of forming over the next 7 days. So this is here. It's new. And this just came out this morning at the 7 o'clock a.m. update. So this is what we're now looking at. And I do agree. We've been looking at the ensembles. The ensembles have been showing some indication that there could be a low pressure that forms, and that tropical wave that moves off of the west coast of Africa could, develop into the middle to the latter portion of next week. So we have a long way to go with this. I'm going to keep you guys in the loop with this. And obviously, tonight's forecast will probably be based on this system right here, on this tropical system right here. Looking at the ensembles again, seeing what the deterministic says, seeing what the individual models say. And we're going to, talk about all of that. But, before we get to that, let's finish off this forecast real quick. If you did like the forecast, please go and hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, hit the share button. We're at 821, trying to get to that main goal of 900. Let's go in and get there. Also, hit the share button. Share with your friends, your family members, your acquaintances, people that you don't talk to regularly, because it's free and it always will be. I'll be back tonight, 8 o'clock p.m. with your Saturday evening forecast update. Make sure that you're there for that. And we'll be talking about the tropics as always.